I'm live. Back to the YouTube. This is your Loonie Liberal Power Hour with your host, Lance Richards. I'd like to welcome you to part 3 of our How Trump Okeydoked You. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, the first part was in regards to liberals and conservatives. I discussed the definition of and how it applies to what's going on with your okey doke. Number 2 had to do with your preconceived notions, things that you already were instilled with and believed, and he just piled ignorance on top of your ignorance. Now, in part 3, I want to try to I really want to try and come up with the answer. I don't think that you guys understand that for 4 years I have just been looking for the key, looking for the answer, looking for the aha moment. What I got to say, what do I got to do? How do I got to explain it to you to make you see it? It's giving me dark circles under my eyes. I've probably aged 20 years in the last 4, truth be told. I'm starting to look old now because of Trump, God damn it. But I guess what I'm really trying to do here is I'm trying to make sense of it for you more than anything else. I mean, I know that we're coming to the time now. He says he's never going to concede, but they're starting to allow the transition, and there's going to come a time in every deplorable's life when they're just going to be hit with the realization of how colossally they fucked up, how colossally they allowed their ignorance to lead them astray, run them amok. And I guess what I want to do for you guys is that I want to try to make sense of it. Try to explain to you how you got here. Hopefully, if you watch part 1 to part 2, part 3, etc., and you listen to it thoughtfully and you're honest with yourselves and you try to come to terms with things, hopefully this series will help you come to terms with it, understand it, get your brain wrapped around how exactly did you get here. And basically, where you are is the member of a cult. If you are a deplorable and you're still defending and promoting that man, if you're still waiting for fraud and all this horseshit, if you're still listening to Giuliani and you're listening to all this bullshit, if you're not pissed off at him like the rest of America is, then you need to come to terms. We have to come to terms with the fact that the last 4 years should be deleted from history. I mean, we should keep it around so people know. I mean, we should call everybody a Donald Trump if they're a traitor. We should make sure that people know what went on in the last 4 years, but we have to pretend like it didn't happen moving forward. Okay? We have to establish the fact that I mean, we can't give him any slack. We can't give him any benefit of the doubt right now. You've got it to the point, deplorables, because of Trump, that we can't cut you any slack. We can't even worry about being fair to you right now. Like I've said in the last ones, we'll always take care of you, and we'll always try to be fair to you when it comes to moving forward with America. But I don't even want to acknowledge your bullshit anymore. It's gotten to the point where you don't even deserve to have a voice right now. He doesn't deserve to have a voice. They should just shut him down, kick him the hell out, and let Joe go in early, honestly. If it wasn't for us respecting democracy in America and our protocols, if it wasn't for the fact that we do have respect for that kind of stuff, if it wasn't for that fact, we should slide Smoking Joe and Kamala in there right now and kick the old orange turd out. And just from that point forward in policy, we should pretend like he didn't exist. Now, of course, we're going to want to tell our kids and our kids' kids and generations upon generations what he did for the last 4 years, so we make sure that nobody else does it. We should absolutely go after him in the courts. When he becomes a private citizen, come January 20th, they should have people waiting at the door for him to drag him away and let him sit in fucking jail while they work all his shit out. Because he's a goddamn traitor. And we have to come to terms with that. We have to be very clear about that moving forward. Is we can't hide from this. We can't allow the deplorables to hide from this. So, in the spirit of that absolute truth is my part 1, part 2, and now the Loonie Liberal Power Hour with your host, Lance Richards, How Trump Okeydoked You, part 3. This is a special feature we're doing. I mean, this isn't always how I roll, but this is how I must roll for the time being. My hands are tied. I have to roll in this manner because, as I've told you, I've been kicked off of Facebook Live. They won't let me type nothing. So I have to hop on here and I have to get it out. I have to keep it for posterity. If I die of a heart attack tomorrow, my kids can watch this and maybe understand me and themselves a little bit better moving forward. Perhaps this will enlighten some trumpets. I doubt it because they won't even watch it. See, that's the problem. This is going to be for them later because they're going to be asking themselves that very question. How the fuck did Trump okey-doke me so bad? Eventually, they're going to ask themselves that question. They're going to have to because it's an inevitable question. Once the blinders are off and the rose color or the orange colored glasses are gone, and they really have to come to terms with, why is everybody not paying attention to me? Why is everybody laughing at me when I say something? Why is everybody pretending like I don't exist right now? Well, it's because of what you've done for the last 4 years. It's because of how far right and extreme you've become. It's because you are a member of a cult. A 70 million member cult. And that's scary enough, guys. 70 million people. Over 70 million people voted for that man. Still, when it was all said and done, they still somehow justified giving that man another 4 years. Now, how? So I've set about trying to let you know how. Like I said in the first one, we discussed conservatives and liberals. What's the difference? I mean, because people, deplorables, want to use the term liberal as a dirty word, as an insult, as something that's bad, because they don't really understand what it means. To them, it's just like, it's like you're a Browns fan and they're a Steeler. They just don't like you because you're a liberal, and people told them not to like liberals because they're on the conservative team. And they don't understand what they really fucking mean. They don't even understand how they apply to the stupid shit that they do. They don't get it. It's to them, it's just like a bad word, an insult. The team that they're playing against. But in summary, liberals have an open mind. They see all perspectives. They're open to new ideas. They try to find the truth, and they try to use logic and reason and facts and knowledge, and they keep an open mind and bring all the perspectives together to find truth. Because a liberal-minded individual understands that that's what you need to find truth. Different perspectives, logic and reason, facts. Not conjecture, not conspiracy theory, not conservative ideals that are obsolete, not religious ideals, not nationalist ideals, but as close to the truth as we can find, get it from everywhere, and bring it together to find the truth. That's what liberal minds understand. Conservative minds, on the other hand, tend to be closed-minded. They tend to latch on to things that they agree with, that jive with their conservative thought process, that jive with their religious notions or the conservative notions or their preconceived notions, which was the second part. How he okeydoked you. He okeydoked you because he made liberals bad. He made them the bad guys. He made people who could think the bad guys. Then he played on your preconceived notions, your ignorance, things that you believe or was told or was taught or was instilled in you that wasn't completely true. And then he piled more bullshit on top of the bullshit that you believed. Like, for instance, if you believe that black people are inferior, or women are inferior, or Muslims are inferior, if you believe in nationalist views, if you believe in a conservative religion, these kind of things, these kind of notions are your right to believe, but they're conservative, closed-minded beliefs. They don't take other perspectives into account. They're not fair, they're not honest. So these preconceived notions lead you to believe other things that aren't true. If you were raised to believe that a black man is inferior, then it's easy for you to see how Barack Obama was not a good president. If you believe that females are inferior, then it's easy for you to see how Hillary wouldn't be a good president. And you could vote for a stupid punk ass piece of shit like Trump, and he would be somehow, just because he was a man, I guess, he would be a better president than Hillary, which is just absurd. But these are the preconceived notions that allow you to believe the other stupid shit that you believe. And he played on them. He pulled on them just like little puppet strings. He played on your passion, your patriotism. He played on your bleeding heart. He said the liberals were baby killers, and the Democrats are baby killers, and they don't believe in God, and they don't love America, and Kaepernick kneels, and you can't do that. You're not an American if you believe that shit. See, They tugged on all your ignorance and threw ignorant fuel on the ignorant fire. And it burned and burned and burned out of control for 4 years. But now the adults, the people who are fair and honest and thoughtful and try to do right by America, and not just themselves, they're back in charge now. America is back, like Smokin' Joe said. America is back now. Now, of course, we're probably going to have to fight off some of the really extreme, crazy deplorables. They're going to raise a ruckus, and they're going to continue throwing their tantrum because their stupid dictator is empowering them to do so. It's a fraud. It was stolen. I'll never concede. So he's throwing more stupid juice on their stupid fucking party. He's continuing to drive home the fact that America is not a democracy, that their vote don't count, that it was fraudulent, that law and order don't matter. American democracy doesn't matter. The free press doesn't matter. Freedom of religion doesn't matter. Separation of power doesn't matter. All these things he's done. He has audaciously spit in the face of the pillars of America, the things that made America great. That's always made America great. When he said he wanted to make America great again, he meant he wanted to make America great again for conservative, racist, nationalist Christians. People who believe that women should be barefoot and pregnant and they're just here to serve. People who believe that the black men are inferior. People who believe that we should piss on everybody for America. People who just believe ignorant shit. Shit that's not the truth. And you're allowed to believe it. You're allowed to believe it. You live in America. But you're not allowed to shove all that stupid shit down everybody else's throat. You're not allowed to make everybody else believe that stupid shit. And that's what the silent majority stood up and screamed at the top of their lungs earlier in this month. Over 80 million people. Overwhelmingly defeated that piece of shit. It was a tremendous slap in the face. And you guys just really haven't came to terms with it yet. Mainly because he hasn't came to terms with it. He refuses to come to terms with it. In his world, he cannot even fathom being a loser. No matter how many times he's lost repeatedly in his life, his privileged life lets him pretend like he's never lost. And that's what he's continuing to do. He's continuing to pretend like he never lost. The only way he could have lost is if we cheated him. But we didn't have to cheat him. He had to cheat us. He had to cheat us to get there in the first fucking place. But we didn't have to cheat him to take it back. We, the people, stood up. We didn't have to cheat him. We stood up and took it back with our sacred oath. We took it back with our sacred right and duty to American democracy of our voice, our vote. And our voice was much louder than the deplorables' voice. And now we don't have to listen to their voice anymore. We don't want to listen to their voice anymore because their voice is absurd. And unfortunately for them, they're going to have to come to terms with that. They're going to have to, in their brain, figure out why we're not listening to them. But we got to help them get there. It's also our duty to bring them along because that's the type of people we are. We're good people. We want to bring them along with us. But we're damn sure not going to be held back by them. We're not going to let them pull us in reverse. We're not going to let them make us conservative, Christian, nationalist, racist motherfuckers. We're not going to let them do that to us. And we're damn sure not going to let them do that to our country. And we're damn sure not going to make our children have to live in a world like that. Sorry, but I'm not. I will fight with my dying breath so what the deplorables stand for does not see the light of day again. We should bury them like the Confederacy. We should bury them like the Nazis. See, they brought all them flags back, remember? It's okay to be a Confederate. It's okay to be a Nazi. That's bullshit. That should have been the first fucking clue that it was bullshit. When that stuff was okay, and it's okay to have these guys on my side, these Nazi Confederate sons of bitches, it's okay for them to be on my side. Oh, yeah, they're Trump lovers. Yeah, if they love Trump, then they're good with me. No. The fact that they were good with Trump should have told you what a piece of shit Trump was. All these rabid racist motherfuckers loved him and was rabid for him. That should have told you something. That should have been your first fucking clue, Sherlock. If he brought them Nazis and Confederates back and made them proud of themselves again and made that okay, that should have been your first fucking clue that it was bullshit. But somehow it wasn't. Somehow that skipped your mind. Somehow that just went right over your head. Somehow it went right over your head. And I don't understand it. I don't get it. But I want to try and make sense of it. Because I do kind of get it. I get how he got you. But I don't understand how you can stay God. He conned you. And it was a beautiful con. It was just a ready-made con. We were ripe for the pickings. Over 70 million of you were ripe for the pickings. And why were you ripe for the pickings? Because you're ignorant. Because you choose to remain ignorant. And that's, I think, what part 3 is. I think the theme of part 3, the focus of part 3, has to be ignorance. Ignorance in general, but also specific ignorance. And the specific ignorance I speak of is your utter ignorance of politics and history and your civic duty. You guys don't even, I mean, you fell for the whole Democrats racist thing. You don't even understand that the Southern racists were conservative slave owners. The Southern Democrats that started the KKK that you guys always want to throw in us liberals' face. Well, them Democrats, they're the racist ones. They started the KKK. That's the biggest bunch of fucking ignorance that you guys have. Well, that's not the biggest, but it's up there. Top 10. Top 10 ignorant things that deplorables say. It's definitely one of them. Them Democrats, they're the racist ones. They started the KKK, and them guys, they were the ones that was racist. No. Southern Democrats were slave owners, and they were conservative, like you deplorables. They were conservative people. They didn't want to change. They wanted to keep their slaves. They were afraid of change. The KKK was started by conservative, racist motherfuckers like you deplorables. Okay? Let's get that straight. Let's establish that in part 3, ignorance. That's a big part of your ignorance. Is that you don't, like part 1, you don't even understand how being conservative applies to how you fucked up. You don't understand that your preconceived notions and your beliefs, while you're allowed to have them, you're not allowed to make everybody else believe what you believe. You're allowed to believe that a woman came from your rib and she's here to serve and be barefoot and pregnant. You're allowed to believe that, but you're not allowed to make everybody else believe that. You're allowed to believe that Kaepernick should have stood for the fucking flag, and he should just worship the flag like Nazis do. You're allowed to believe that, but you can't make everybody else believe that. Okay, these are your preconceived notions. That's just ignorance. You're allowed to believe that a black man's inferior and a woman's inferior, but you can't make everybody else believe that bullshit. You can't shove your ignorance down everybody else's throats, and that's what you've been doing for 4 years. Led by the most ignorant motherfucker I think that walks the face of the earth. He's so oblivious. He lives in a world completely his own, unlike any other. He's like the quintessential poster child for oblivious fucking rich kid. He lives in a completely another world from the rest of us. He has no integrity. He has no honor. He has no conscience. He's one of those guys like Kim. Like Kim will tell his cult members that he don't even defecate. He don't even have to take a shit. He's so perfect that he don't even shit. His shit can't even stink because he don't even shit. That's the kind of stupid shit Kim said. And that's what dictators will tell you. And that's his mentality. You gave him another 4 years, he'd have probably told you, I don't even shit no more. And you'd have believed it. You stupid fucking sheep would have believed it because you believed more absurd shit. Birther. Very first one. And it comes down to, like I said, focus. Ignorance. Ignorance in general. And specific ignorance. Your ignorance of politics in general, American democracy, the Constitution, obviously. I mean, let's talk about the Constitution while we're at it. I mean, all of you conservative, you conservative Trumpers, you're all about the Constitution, but yet, what about a Christian nation that you want? How can you say that you love the Constitution and you want to make America a Christian nation? That them things are inconsistent. You can't have them two beliefs together. You can't love the Constitution and then turn around and say, I want to make America a Christian nation. Doesn't work. Doesn't go together. Because in the Constitution, it says you can't do that shit. Okay? You can't call everything fake news and then say you love the Constitution, because in the Constitution, it says you can't do that shit. You can't attack the press. The press has the absolute right of freedom. It's in order. Freedom of and from religion. Freedom of the press. I mean, it's back to back in the First fucking Amendment. So how can you have these two beliefs together? It's inconsistent. You can't have them two beliefs together if you want to remain logical and reasonable and rational. You can't have them. That's your ignorance. You don't even understand how these things apply. Why we have these things. Separation of power, for instance. You have no concept of separation of power, obviously, because of what he did in the Senate. How they refused to hold a trial, how they refused to have witnesses, how they refused to even hear evidence of an impeachment. It don't go together. The rule of law, you're law and order, I'm law and order president. Are you fucking shitting me? You spit in the face of law and order, bruh. It's just absurd. The absurdity is piled so high, has been piled so high the last 4 years that it's hard to dig through it and find even just a little bit of truth to try and find common ground with you dumb sons of bitches. It's hard to even find common ground within the pile of horse shit you have. So let's get back to some, maybe let's find some common ground for us. And for most people, it's going to be their kids. Okay? For most people, it's going to be their kids. That's common ground for most anybody is, something that you love. Find something that you love that you know someone else is going to love. Something that you want to protect and care for and prosper and thrive for. Find something. A lot of people, the majority of people, it's going to be their kids. Okay? Their loved ones. You want to protect them. You want to make sure the world's good for them. You want to try and leave it better than it was. Always trying to get better for posterity, for the people that come after us. The future. Okay, so do you truly want your child to live in a world where women aren't equal? Where black people aren't equal? Where you have to be a Christian? Where you have to bow to the flag? Where you have to be conservative minded? Do you want your children to live in a world where Kim and Putin are the good guys? Where Kim and Putin are held up on a pedestal and somebody to, envy? Just love Kim. Kim's just such a good guy. Oh, Putin, I wish I could be Putin. That's the world you want your children to live in? The people that you love? You want your daughters to live in a world where they can tell her to give birth or not give birth? I mean, if you take her right to choose away, what's next? Are you just going to make her give birth? Is her uterus yours now? Is her uterus to be made? Is it for America? So you want your daughter to live in a world where her uterus is up for rent in America. This guy is going to plant his seed and you're going to like it and you're going to give birth. Because that's where it goes. Real fucking quick. Okay, you don't understand that concept of personal autonomy. Obviously. You want to talk about it's okay to take a woman's right to choose away, but it's not okay for us to ask you to put on a mask and protect people. It's your right not to wear a mask, but it's not her right to choose what to do with her uterus. How does that work for you? How does that make sense to you? How is that consistent at all? Even close to consistent. It's okay for you to tell her what to do with her uterus and her body, but you can't even put a fucking mask on to protect some old people and some weak people and people that might be really susceptible to something. How is that consistent to you? It's not consistent. It's your ignorance. It's your selfishness. It's your greed. It's your self-righteousness. Pure ignorance. And you have to come to terms with that. It's not bad to be ignorant. It's just bad to be willfully ignorant, to continue to be ignorant, and then try to shove that ignorance down everybody else's throat so you don't have to be wrong. That's when it's bad, guys. That's when you became the bad guys. It's not that you believe that stupid shit. You're allowed to believe whatever stupid shit you want, but you're just not allowed to make everybody else believe it. And that's what you tried to do for 4 years. And the rest of the country, the rest of the world is sick of your shit. And what are you going to do when you realize that? That's where I come in. That's where this How Trump Okeydoked You, part 1, 2, and now 3, which deals with ignorance, general and specific. Your general ignorance of politics, obviously of American history, obviously of sociology and logic and reason. Your ignorance of those general terms and how they apply and what they even mean. You don't even understand what conservative is, liberal is. You don't understand socialism. You don't understand anything politically, obviously. You just get pissed off about something and bitch. And you don't even know what the fuck you're bitching about. You just know it's your right to bitch. Okay, yeah, it's your right to bitch, but you got to make sense, motherfucker. And you don't. And you haven't for 4 years. So, what we need to do now is to come to terms with that. You need to come to terms with that. So, how do you go about that? Go back and watch part 1. Then watch part 2. While you're doing that, watch it thoughtfully. Be honest. Be fair with yourself. Think about the things that are coming out of my mouth. Think about them. You want to talk about how hard you work? Okay, work hard to think for a little bit. I mean, be fair and honest and work hard. Make it hurt a little bit. For the love of Christ. If you love Jesus so much, you love America so much, okay, work hard for us. Open up your mind and fucking think for a little bit. Think about the shit that you've been pushing on everybody for the last 4 years. Think about it. Think about the shit that you're still continuing to try and push on people. And he's continuing to do. He is just continuing to spit in America's face. To completely discredit our vote. The sanctity of our most sacred right. He got beat and now he's crying foul. He's saying he got cheated. Bullshit. Just like everything else he said for 4 years. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. And thank the Lord Jesus above that it's over now. Well, it's not completely over, but it's taken a good turn. Like Smoking Joe said, America's back. That's true. America's back. We got some rebuilding to do. We got some cleaning up to do. We got to get shit back in order. But we're heading back in the right direction. And I think you'll see that over, I mean, sure, he left us a big pandemic. You stupid sons of bitches left us a big pandemic and you still don't want to wear your mask. You still don't want to help people. You still don't want to take care of people. You left this economy in shambles, unemployment out the asshole. I mean, what else is new? Is what Slick Willie had to do for Reagan and one term of Bush. And then another Bush came along and Obama had to fix his shit up. And then Trump come along and now fucking here comes Smoking Joe back in to fix his shit up too. It's just a theme with you sons of bitches. You get greedy and fuck shit up for your turn. And then we have to come in and clean up your fucking messes. Well, this is the big mess, bro. You finally got the big mess. This is the biggest mess since Civil War. And you sons of bitches brought it back. We had to have another Civil War. Only this time we had to have a Civil War of truth, understanding, logic, reason. We had to fight your ignorance again. but only we fought it with this and this. We fought it with our understanding, with our knowledge, with our know-how. We didn't have to bring out our guns and punch you in the face. We just were Americans. We, the people, stood the fuck up and took our country back from you sons of bitches. It's that simple. It really, truly is. So where do we go from here? Like I said, the first step is always going to be thoughtful and honest and fair dialogue. It always starts with dialogue. It always starts with knowledge and facts and understanding and trying to figure things out and get your head wrapped around what's going on and what we need to do to fix it. It has to start with honest, truthful, fair, thoughtful dialogue. History, science, logic, reason, truth. These things we should be holding to be self-evident. We shouldn't be drowning in conspiracy theory. We shouldn't be drowning in conjecture. We shouldn't be drowning in misinformation and propaganda and straight up fucking bold-faced lies. We shouldn't be drowning in that in America. Everybody else is looking around at us saying, what the fuck is going on over there? So, how do we get back to building back better? We have to stand for the truth, folks. We have to stand firm for what's closer to the truth, what's more factual, what's logical, what's reasonable, what's fair, what's honest, what's thoughtful. We have to get back to being just. And as fair as we possibly can be. And as honest as we possibly can be. So let's start by saying that honestly, truthfully, absolutely, you guys screwed the pooch this time. And I honestly don't want to rub it in your face right now. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna have bouts where I just really want to rub your noses in it. But I want to be thoughtful to you. I'm not concerned about being so fair to you right now because I think that 99% of the things that you take that come out of your mouth is just absurd and not worthy of my attention. But by the same token, I want to help you with this absurdity. But you're going to have to work on your attitude. You're going to have to work on how you're going about these things. Because you have to accept the fact that you're the ignorant one in our discussions, for the most part. If you're a deplorable, you're the ignorant one. And we have to establish that. That needs to be established. And I'm not trying to hurt your feelings with this. I'm just being fair and honest. I'm trying to be thoughtful and fair and honest. And I'm telling you that if you voted for Trump, if you call yourself a deplorable, if you think there should have been another 4 years like the 4 years we've been through, then I really don't want to hear what you have to say. You've driven the car long enough. You about took us off the fucking right-wing edge, and we're not concerned about what you think anymore. We're not concerned about what you believe anymore. Of course, we're going to help you, and we're going to work to make it fair. We're going to work to drag it back from your right wing edge and make it fair again for everybody, not just you. Okay, yeah, you're going to have to give up a lot because you took a lot that you didn't have coming to you. And now you're going to have to go sit in the corner with your dunce cap on, ask thoughtful questions, listen, learn, figure out all the stupid shit that you obviously didn't understand in the first place, or we wouldn't be here right now, folks. Let's be fair. Again, fair, honest, thoughtful. You fucked shit up, guys. And I hate to keep reinforcing that, but I guess I must reinforce that until it gets in your head. I got to keep pounding that into your head until you come to terms with the fact that you fucked up bad. I mean real bad this time. Epically, historically, outrageously fucked up bad this time. Foobar. We're beyond all recognition. But we'll bring her back. We're going to bring her back. And how we're going to do it is that Joe's got a good team of people that know what the fuck they're doing. And they're going to get in there and they're going to start doing it. And we're going to do the best we can do again. We're going to be thoughtful and fair and honest and try to help each other and empower people again. Okay, we're going to help all these people that are struggling because of the mess you made. The pandemic you let rage. You just let it take us over. All you selfish fucking deplorables and your dictator let this thing take us over, and now we got to fix it. We got to take care of it, or it's going to kill us. It's going to kill us. It's already coming back. It's raging out of control. Highest it's been ever. And you still got people bitching and complaining because they got to wear masks. This is how Twilight Zone surreal it is, folks. For real. I'm not here to scare you. I don't want to make you panic. I want you to understand. I want you to be thoughtful and fair and honest, and I want you to come to terms with how bad you fucked shit up, and how far we're going to have to come back to get back to where we're supposed to be again. And all we need from you is to shut the fuck up and listen, to learn something, to stop running off at the jib about shit that you don't even really understand. Your ignorance. We don't need no more of it. We need you to be thoughtful and fair and honest. And throw away your misinformation and find good information. Forget about what you think you know and start finding out what you don't know. And let me tell you, it's considerable. What you obviously don't know and don't understand must be very considerable. Because it just doesn't make sense how you can believe anything that you believe right now. So, let's summarize these things for us. Like I said, part 1, how Trump okeydoked you, part 1, had to do with the definition of conservative and liberal. Conservative and liberal it's not teams. It's not, liberals aren't bad guys and conservatives aren't good guys necessarily. It's just a thought process. And we need both for America. It's good to have righteous conservative ideals holding back your liberal thoughts. You need to be grounded. You need to be fair. You need to keep each other fair with conservative and liberal ideas. And yes, but you conservatives went way off the fucking deep end again. And now it's us liberals pulling you back. You see. And that's where we were. That's part one. Your conservative mind made it very easy for him to okey-doke you. In summary of part one. Conservative minds are closed-minded and they're more susceptible to a cult mentality, being a sheep. If you just inject conservative mind with a bunch of bullshit, it stays in there and rattles around and makes them crazy. And nothing gets out. So that's why they're more susceptible to that. Part two, your preconceived notions made it easy for him to okey-doke you. Things that you believed and thought that weren't true led you to believe other things that weren't true, that wasn't true, that isn't true. And thirdly, this was just part three, general ignorance. This is all ignorance. You don't even know what conservative and liberal means. You obviously didn't understand preconceived notions. You don't understand American politics or history. You prove this with your dialogue. All these things that I'm saying are easily proven through your dialogue, which I've done repeatedly for 4 years, over and over and over again. Yeah, Trump lost, Mike T. Biden is your president, sweetie pie. Yeah, I know. Amen, right? I missed that. Wonder when Mike T came in here. I was just rattling on. And that's what I do sometimes. But you should go back, check it out. You should go back and start from the first part and go all the way through. Depending on how I feel, I might do another one just for shits and giggles. Because, like I said, I don't get to mess around on Facebook, so I might as well get on here and leave some things for posterity. Who knows? I might drop dead tomorrow. And then people are going to be looking for answers, and maybe I'll just look here. Maybe my kids, like I said, they'll need something. They might want to see me and hear my voice and come to terms with what a crazy son of a bitch their dad was. Never know. Crazy, loony, liberal daddy. But for the last 5 or so minutes of this Loony Liberal Power Hour with your host, Lance Richards, how Trump okey-doked you, part 3. I want to really hammer home the focus of this one. Ignorance is defined as not knowing. Maybe you were told the wrong thing. You were misinformed, uninformed. Ignorance is something that every single person, every human being who's ever lived has suffered from ignorance in some degree. Some more than others. Some choose to not be ignorant. Some choose to remain ignorant. Ignorance isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's only ignorant if you stay ignorant. If you choose to stay ignorant, if you refuse to see the truth, even though you're capable of it. if you try to shove that ignorance down everybody else's throats, that's when ignorance becomes bad. But in and of itself, essentially, by definition, ignorance isn't a bad thing. It's just everybody suffers from it in some form or another. Nobody knows everything. Some people are misinformed. Everybody's been misinformed. It's not a bad thing, but it's something that you, as an individual, have to choose to fix. I can't make you think. I can't make you understand. You have to find, I can help you. I can lead you to water, but I can't make you drink. You have to find it in yourself how to learn, how to understand, how to get your head wrapped around things, and how to eliminate your ignorance as much as you possibly can. Now, in my case, I went out of my way to not be ignorant of as much things as I possibly could. And it truly is eye-opening and enlightening to truly become someone who chooses to endeavor to not be ignorant of anything. The more you learn, the more you understand, the more you realize that you don't know. That's the funny thing about learning. That's the funny thing about wisdom and knowledge and understanding and information. The more you find out and the more truth you find, the more you figure out that you really don't know shit. And that's the funny thing about it. Your ignorance is everlasting. It's eternal. It's infinite. The things you don't know are infinite. You don't even know how much shit you don't know. That's why it's a lifelong battle. It's a lifelong chore. It's something that you never stop learning, or at least you shouldn't ever stop learning. You should never, you will never know everything. Nobody ever knows everything. The only person that may know everything, or the only being that may know everything, is God. If God's even real. We don't know that. That's one thing that we don't know for sure. See? All you guys go through life believing in God. You think there's a God, but you don't know that for sure. That's why it's called the unknown. You can't prove God's existence, and I can't prove that he doesn't exist. See, that's the funny thing about ignorance and knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Like I said, the more you find out, the more you realize that you don't know shit. And that's what a wise man will tell you, is that no matter how much more I know about politics and history and religion and sociology and psychology and all these subjects, like I said, I spent my lifetime trying to find these things because I wanted to be a teacher. So no matter what I know in these realms more than you, I still don't know close to everything. I don't even know a fraction of everything. I don't want to say that I'm the smartest person who's ever lived, but odds are I'm smarter than you, especially if you voted for Trump. So we have to establish that moving forward. Is I know a lot more about politics and history than you, obviously. That's obvious. The fact that you're deplorable proves that from here on out. And that is the focus of the third part. Part one, you're conservative minded. You're deplorable. You think liberals are bad guys, but they're not. Liberal people is what created America. America is a liberal idea. Jesus was a liberal man. I mean, you got all them Christians out there hating liberals, and they're a Christian. How does that make sense to you? All these things lead you to the last 4 years. And we'll get there, man. We'll get there. And yeah, we might have to have these loony liberal power hours put in school someday. How Trump okeydoked your parents, part 1. Don't be like your dad, part 2. Anyway, that's been an hour. That's been this Loony Liberal Power Hour with your host, Lance Richards. How Trump okeydoked you, uno tres, part 3. Go back, watch 1, watch 2. Go ahead and watch 3. Watch this again. It'll help you out if you're a deplorable, especially. It'll help you. Tag these for your kids so they don't make the same mistakes you did. And then I'll probably get back on and do another one here. I don't know if it'll be how Trump okeydoked you. I might just want to get on and fucking bullshit for a while. We'll see. But that's been this one. It's been over an hour. Loony Liberal Power Hour with your host, Lance Richards. As always, be cool. Be good to each other. Be fair. Be honest. Be thoughtful. Be kind. Be strong. Be good things, man. Okay? Enough of the deplorable shit already. We knocked their dicks in the dirt. You guys got to go sit in the corner with your dunce caps on, be quiet, and listen, learn something, and maybe we'll talk later. Ask thoughtful questions. That's your job from now on, deplorables. Ask thoughtful questions. Try to learn something. All right. That's all I got for this one. Dumbass out.